Even though she was incredibly soft and chewy on the inside, in the kitchen, her notorious reputation of a tough cookie preceded her. Weirdly enough, one of her sharpest features were her feet. If you were into that kind of stuff, then she was your type of gal. But despite her colourful looks and vibrant persona, she was no hollow cookie. After all, she was the French Macaron. Ah yes, the French Macaron. A notoriously difficult to make cookie.
Oh, joking aside, the French macaron really is a special cookie, but it does seem to get a bit of a bad rap when it comes to its making. Today we put that to rest. And I'll admit, making French macarons is not something that you do every day, but when you do decide to make them, the rewards outweigh the efforts by a mile. If you don't believe me, next time you're going over to someone's house, bring over some homemade French macarons, and you easily become the guest of honor. To make things more interesting, there's a small twist to our recipe. While most people will use a room temp friendly filling, I decided to stray off that path, make slightly larger macarons, and use them to make ice cream sandwiches. I wasn't sure what to expect, but the results were really good. The macaron is not only as equally exciting as the ice cream itself, but it also freezes really well, giving you a crunchy exterior and a lovely chew on your way to that much anticipated ice cream filling. And speaking of fillings, if you're ever in need of a good ice cream recipe, don't hesitate to check out my salted caramel pumpkin ice cream recipe. Links in the description, you can thank me later. But without further ado, let's make some French macarons.
To kick things off, we're mixing together 140 grams of powdered sugar and 150 grams of almond flour. For a smooth macaron shell, we want as fine a powder as possible, so we're going to sift the mixture through a fine sieve and discard any larger pieces of almond left behind. This is why we're starting with slightly more almonds than powdered sugar. The extra 10 grams will compensate for any almond losses. When we're done, we're going to sieve the whole mixture a second time to ensure no large almond pieces remain. Set your dry ingredients aside and we move our attention towards the making of a French meringue. Any greasy spots will inhibit a good whip on our meringue. When in doubt, clean your bowl with a few drops of lemon juice and clean kitchen paper. Apart from a clean bowl, we also need 120 grams of egg whites. Separating egg whites is easier while the eggs are cold out of the fridge. Cold yolks are firmer and less likely to break, and we need egg whites free of any yolk. Like I said, that will mess with the meringue. Make sure to fine tune your egg white ooze to exactly 120 grams. The shell can come in handy since it's good at breaking the surface tension of the eggs. Room temp egg whites whip better, so we let them temper for about 30 minutes. It's then time to start whipping on low speed as to achieve a stable foundation. When you get to a frothy consistency, go ahead and add a pinch of cream of tartar or a squeeze of lemon juice. The acid will help stabilize the meringue. We're going to continue whipping on low speed until our egg whites turn somewhat whiter and we can see visible trails from our whipping. At this point, we're going to slowly start adding 110 grams of granulated sugar in tablespoon additions while whipping on medium speed. When all the sugar has been incorporated into the meringue, it's time to give our future macarons a characteristic pop of color. Powdered and gel food coloring work easier since they don't mess with the mixture's hydration too much. Continue whipping on medium-high speed until you achieve a stiff peak. You know you've got one when your meringue produces a large beak that holds its shape and doesn't bend over. At this stage, our meringue is done. I'm transferring to a larger bowl for slightly more comfort in our next step, which will be to fold in the almond mixture we prepared earlier. For starters, sift in about 1/3 of the dry ingredients over your meringue, once again discarding any larger pieces of castaway almonds. To fold the dries in, using a silicone spatula, start at 9 o'clock and going clockwise, make a full circle while gently scraping off any meringue from the bottom and the walls of your bowl. Coming back to the 9 o'clock position, move your spatula towards the center of the bowl, gently pushing the dries into the meringue. You need to repeat this about 10 times. Sift in the second third of your dries and fold 10 more times following the exact same technique. Time to add the remaining third of the dry ingredients and keep repeating the folding technique until you achieve a smooth batter that can glide off your spatula in thin streaks that resemble shiny, free-flowing ribbons. If you can successfully draw the figure 8 with your batter without it breaking, then it's ready. When you're happy with the consistency, transfer your batter to a piping bag fitted with a round tip and knock out any larger air bubbles trapped inside. Push all your batter back towards the tip and secure tightly. To achieve more uniform macarons, I've outlined the size I'm shooting for in a piece of parchment. Pipe the batter under a 90-degree angle without moving your piping bag to your desired size, keeping in mind that the batter will spread to a larger diameter after you've piped it. When you've piped enough batter, using the edge of your piping tip, cut off the flow in a swift sideways motion. Repeat until you fill up your tray to your planned number of macarons. We then want to eliminate any air pockets that may have stayed in the batter by raising and dropping the tray from a height evenly on a flat surface. Then it's time to rest the macarons. The resting period will help develop the skin on the outer layer, which is what helps grow their iconic feet. Rest until you can touch the macaron without any batter sticking to your finger. This will take up to an hour. At this stage, you want to bake them in a preheated oven set to 150 Celsius, 300 degrees Fahrenheit for about 16 minutes. Once baked, leave to cool down at room temp and they should easily come off their parchment paper. What we're looking for is a good and even rise that has yielded us the characteristic macaron feet. So far so good, but we need to throw them in the fridge for at least a couple of hours. This will develop their texture and also make them sturdier for construction. Now let's talk filling. If you're using store-bought ice cream, your best bet is to go for a tub and cut hockey pucks to your desired thickness out of it. Sandwich set hockey puck between your chilled macarons and easily enough you have yourself a good looking ice cream sando. If you wanted to use homemade ice cream, you'd need to freeze it in a round shape. I'm using these modes I had handy, but if you don't have similar at your disposal, freezing your ice cream in a paper cup works really well too. The result is very much like store-bought ice cream in a tub. Once you have your ice cream of choice into the appropriate form and size, you want to sandwich it between two of your macarons. Wrap in plastic wrap and transfer to the freezer for those to get acquainted for about half an hour. And if you decide to stop here, these are incredible as they are, but we can take them a step further by dressing them up for the occasion. I'm personally going for a chocolate dip made out of 4 parts semi-sweet chocolate and 1 part coconut oil that I've melted over a double boiler. This would be a great point to sprinkle with any last fun topics you may have around. You know, use your imagination. Transfer to the freezer for a few minutes and we'll be good to go.
And voila, I present to you the French Macaron.
I have to say, this came out looking better than I expected. It does have a bit of a strawberry cake meat glazed donut type of vibe to it, but even more reason to love it. But enough chit chat, let us taste. And while the strawberry ice cream does provide some acidic contrast, I'll be the first to admit, this thing is super sweet, but it is super tasty as well. The macaron offers a great range of texture straight out of the freezer, initially giving you a nice crackly surface and a soft chewy inside. The combination begs the question, why oh why is it just now that I'm trying this? But as they say, better late than never. But don't take my word for it. Make your own.